Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.
So I just saw on Pittsburgh Today Live that you have a new agreement or a new program with veteran-owned breweries in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
is that correct?
That actually is correct.
We
just put together Pittsburgh's one of their first veteran-owned brewery collaborations.
Okay.
And we pulled together those two breweries, and with the idea of brewing a beer for vets by vets to get it into VFWs, and it's sponsoring a charity called the Veteran Leadership Program, which helps veterans all over Pennsylvania.
Okay. All right, now how did that idea spur? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, so earlier that month, or the month prior, we actually brewed Kennywood Park's first iconic beer collaboration that they have ever done. And we came up with a term called storyable. And what that is, that changed the way that we do business as a company. I don't know if it's a real word. I don't know if I made it up.
Okay, what is the name of the word?
Storyable.
Storyable.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
meaning
that I kept reaching out to all these media organizations to talk to them about what we do. Only a couple.
Like this one?
Yeah, like this one. A few of them got back to me. Some wrote about us, like Breweries in PA and Craft Pittsburgh Magazine. But for the majority, it fell on deaf ears. So I got tired of reaching out to people. So I decided to create concepts and events where everyone wins, and I make everyone that works at those media source outlets' job a whole lot easier by giving them something they want to write about. Like brewing Kennywood Park's first ever beer collaboration with the local McKees Rocks Brewery, 412 Brewery, and with this month's veteran collaboration with Couch Brewery and Burgers Brewing.
How about that?
Yeah, so it's a thing. It worked.
So you found your niche in then.
Yeah.
Your pathway into the local media.
Right. So it's a win-win-win for everyone. Reporters, media source outlet folks, It gives them a really good concept to write about that no one else has done before.
Right.
Our brewery partners help get their name out there. It helps us, and we always try to work with a charity that's near and dear to our hearts because we're a veteran-owned company. I'm a veteran. My wife is a veteran from dealing with my crap, but she's a social worker, so we try to look at different charities that she works with and she's a part of as well.
Ah, okay. Yeah. All right. So there's so much to get in with today here, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Before we do that, though, can we get a little bit of your history? Can we talk a little bit about you're a New Ken resident, right?
Oh,
New Kensington,
man.
PA.
New Kennian.
You are a New Kennian.
That is true. I'm as I like to call it, New Ken survivor.
Friends, he said that.
No, I love New Ken. It's done a lot to shape who I am as a person. I'm a big proponent of it takes a village to raise a child, and it's obviously every generation says the same thing. It's not like it was when I was a kid.
Don't say.
So everything's always changing, but I remember waking up and the only especially in the summer, the only thing that we can do is, well, number one, get the hell out the house. Because my mom, she told us, she's like, if you're going to be in the house, you're going to be reading or doing chores. And then, so we always, went outside. You were either playing football, hide and go seek, getting free lunch and breakfast at the local parks. And so that was what we did every single day with our close family. And the only rules were, if it's not food, don't eat it. If it's not a toy, don't touch it, and be home before the street lights came on. To the point where we were running home, street lights turning on behind us, and the little old lady, Miss Akering, down the street yelling, "You boys better get home!" So just that feel. Even though we didn't have a lot at all growing up, we had each other, and we had some really close friends that we keep near and dear to our hearts today. So, for example, I just got back from a big Boston trip, visiting breweries out there, and I started realizing if someone's important to you, you make time for them no matter what. Enough with people making these excuses. I'm too busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. No, if that person's important to you, you'll make the time for them. If they're not, then don't put on a charade that they're still important to you. So on the way back, we drove up to Boston, had 15 different meetings with 15 different breweries. My wife and I, we just grinded the whole time. We actually stayed with a friend, one of my best friends up there. Then on the way back, we stopped in Connecticut with one of my childhood friends who's still in the military. We had lunch with him, spent a couple hours with him. Then we swung through Scranton. My other childhood buddy who was in the Marine Corps, he is an air traffic controller out in Scranton. Wonderful guy. Had dinner with him, spent a couple hours, then drove straight through the whole way home. It was a 14-hour journey, but those are the types of relationships that are important to you. And if that person's important, make it a priority to spend time with them, because we only get one shot at this thing called life, so live it the best way you can.
And that kind of philosophy is so important, because you need to carry that not only from your personal life but into your business life.
Absolutely, and that's the core of what we do. We only work with small businesses all over the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So coming out of high school, what was your direction? What did you have any bent toward entrepreneurship at all?
So I guess a little anecdote. So before I graduated high school, about in middle school, like I said earlier, we didn't have a whole lot financially growing up, but we had that love in our house, which was awesome. So to help make ends meet, I actually got together with my buddy, the guy I stopped in Scranton to visit. Him and I would get together because we both had, big families. There was 4 of us kids.
Sure.
There was 8 of them, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, about 8 of them.
Okay.
So in order to make sure we had enough food, him and I actually made a map of all the gardens and fruit trees in our neighborhood, and we would go around every other day, and the older folks looked at it as a plus because they don't have to go pick up all those apples that fell.
Sure.
We would take care of all of that and help make different meals and dishes for our families.
What a unique idea.
So at that point I realized I want to own my own company. I want to do something, but obviously I was a kid, I didn't know how. So in high school I studied military science for 3 years so I can get fast-tracked in the military. So graduated high school shortly after 9/11, and I had that burning passion, like I needed to do this. Going through middle school, sitting on my grandfather's porch, listening to his Vietnam stories, I knew that was something I wanted to do. So right after high school, joined the military, and that kind of set me up for a good foundation for the rest of my life.
Wow. So you had your direction plotted out at a young age, which is kind of rare.
Yeah.
That's kind of rare. Absolutely. So what branch of the service?
The Army National Guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you come out of the Army National Guard, and what's the first thing you do?
Have a beer.
You didn't have any of those in the garden?
Oh, no, I did, but only like super crappy beer. Because we didn't know any better. We'd go off post down in Georgia. So I was at Fort Benning, then Fort Gordon.
Right.
And every weekend not Fort Benning. You couldn't do anything there. But Fort Gordon, every weekend we'd go off post and we'd just throw these little hotel parties and we just drink Bud Heavy, man. Just Budweiser. I didn't know why every time I got done drinking beer, I got a really bad headache. So until I, came back home and integrated back in with society, that I realized there's good beer out there.
Okay. Did you see? I really want to learn tonight about beer.
Oh,
okay? Yeah, because I can't profess to be an IPA expert. So when you came out of the service after drinking a lot of commercial beers, right?
Macro, the big guys.
Yeah. So your first experience with, let's say, a small craft beer, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, actually, it was Leinenkugel Berry Weiss, which Leinenkugel's an
I've had
dude,
that.
it's so it's like drinking a bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I remember going into places and just asking for the Fruity Pebble beer, and everyone knew what it was.
Yep.
And that's back before a lot of these small mom and pop breweries started popping up and spreading across the U.S. And now tons of breweries are popping up internationally. So the wave that we seen here in the U.S. and around 2014, 2015 is now popping up in the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm. What do you attribute the whole industry, the craft beer industry, to the start of it?
So that's a good question. So the craft beer industry has been around for a long time, right? So some of the old breweries out there, locally, Penn Brewery's been around for a very long time. They actually, if you visit their brewery in Pittsburgh, they actually have the caverns that they used to have. They have caves there because that's used to be where they'd have to store and lager some of the beer that has to ferment at much lower temperatures.
Okay.
Which was super cool, part of our history. One of the oldest craft, well, actually not one of the oldest craft brewery in the country is Yuengling.
Did not know that.
They started in 1829, so they actually pushed their way through Prohibition. Not a lot of people know this, but the way they stuck around to keep the lights on, they actually started making ice cream. So they actually made ice cream to keep the lights on until Prohibition died out when they realized these people are thirsty and they're going to drink no matter what. Before that ended, and they started, brewing a lot more beer at that point. Yeah. So I would say in the 90s and late 80s, you had Dogfish Head, Sam Adams, which is
Sam Adams was considered a craft beer.
Yeah, it still is.
Oh, is it really?
It's still that's also one of those terms that depends on who you talk to, what it means to be craft, but they're still considered craft beer with their merger with Dogfish Head. So when I was in Boston, I visited and we were able to get a private tour tasting, and we were able to dive in some really in-depth questions at Sam Adams, the brewery.
Okay.
And it very, very interesting. I think of it as a positive with that merger because it gives craft beer their own juggernaut, their own craft juggernaut. Even the really big macro beer companies still spill more beer than a lot of craft breweries brew in 1 year.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. You appreciate beer, so you get out of the service. What was the first job you did? What did you do right away, or did you start getting really involved with beer right away?
No. So I initially got a job at Best Buy. I became a manager at Best Buy. I worked there for about 8 years. I really, love technology, love all that stuff. And that actually ties directly back into how I started my company was getting all that business acumen. And one of the great managers that I worked under, Steve Davis, he's still actually a personal friend to this day. Every holiday we text each other to see how each other's doing. So I definitely enjoyed working there. Then from Best Buy, went to the oil field, which crazy, right? So I
went to the oil field.
Yeah, because I have an engineering by trade, because I did engineering in the military, constructional engineering.
Okay.
So in the oil field, I became a gyroscopic field engineer. I'd go out to the drilling sites.
Gyroscopic field engineer.
Yeah, it sounds made up. It sounds like not a real thing, but it uses gyroscopes. I'll go out to active drilling sites. I'm this nerdy guy. I go out there, build a tool, send it down hole to where it measures where they're drilling and they can use that information to figure out how close they are to another well or Farmer Joe's lease line, so they don't have to pay a couple million for going over.
Yeah. Right on. Wow.
I give you the whole resume.
Yeah, that's what we're asking for. So where was the turn to this idea?
So this started, I would say, geez, man, time flies when you're following your dream.
And you're getting older too.
That's why I wear a hat now, man. That hairline is running away from my face.
Join the club, pal.
That's why I'm happy I'm 6'5", because a lot of people don't see how bad it's actually getting.
Can't see up there, right?
But so it was back in, I'd say 2014, 2015, when the wife bought me a home brewing kit. And we started brewing. How it started, huh? We started brewing beer at the house because she knows, that I'm that nerdy problem solver. And brewing beer is where science meets art. It really is. You're doing recipe design, like this interacts with that, and it's life. You're literally creating an ecosystem because you couldn't have beer without life. It's impossible.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so you start brewing beer at home.
Yeah.
And then you're just hooked.
it's funny because as home brewers, if anyone's a home brewer listening to this, you all know we originally told ourselves, oh, I'll brew my own beer because I'll save me money. Man, was that wrong. Because you just keep buying more and more equipment and more recipe kits that you need, all that stuff.
Because you have the bug now.
Oh, you just love it. Nothing's better. I never once had a beer at my house, just sitting there watching TV. And so I started brewing my own beer because I go peek in the brewing closet. I'm like, these might be ready. Pop it open, try it. Nah, maybe tomorrow it'll be ready.
So this starts and you're enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously you're paying quite attention to the craft beer industry. I'm guessing it becomes a hobby for you.
Right.
So I'm guessing part of your recreational time is spent out trying different beers.
It is. We took a trip to the Smoky Mountains, North Carolina, where we visited one of our first breweries.
Okay.
And we fell in love with it. It was a social mountain house. Like, folks were coming in after work.
Right.
They'd bring their kids. There was a dog running around. Mom and dad was enjoying a beer, playing Jenga. Like, we just loved everything about it.
The culture.
We knew we wanted to be. We knew we wanted to be a part of that industry. And looking back on it, breweries all over the U.S. have done so much for their local economies and their local communities, creating jobs, becoming a destination to bring people into your community. If that brewery does a really good job, look at Braddock. With Brew Gentlemen down there.
Absolutely.
Look at Millvale.
Absolutely.
Like, I remember driving through Millvale 15 years ago and not even knowing that I drove through Millvale. So a lot of these breweries are putting these small towns on the map and pulling people in from outside there, spending money in there. Because if you have a local knick-knack shop by a brewery, guess what? Someone's going in there.
Right.
Because they're stopping to get some beer.
We've got one down the street, or Cobble House.
It's
straight down the street from our
Scott's
studio.
Scott's a really good guy.
Yeah.
I love his brews.
But that has changed the complexion of Coriopolis.
Right.
Food trucks have been integrated. The whole food truck industry kind of married up with a lot of these craft beers, beer houses, right?
It was a genius. It was a genius idea. Breweries save money because they don't have to hire kitchen staff, do all the zoning with that. And if they do not have a kitchen, you could bring your dog.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's what cuts it out. So if they make their own food, you can't have pets.
Got it.
But if they don't have that, a lot of breweries are dog friendly.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, super cool.
That's very, very cool. So you see all this happening. You're getting involved in the culture, but there still had to be that one moment where you were thinking, okay, so I can brew my own beer and take that route, but this is such a unique, and when I say niche, I say it complimentary wise, a niche product in this space.
It is.
And
no one else is doing exactly what we're doing.
What was the spark for this?
Yeah, so it was actually quite the journey.
Okay.
So initially, like we were saying, with me brewing beer, we organically just wanted to start a brewery. So we started doing research. What does it take to do that? And as we talked about, I'm a New Kenyan. So when we found out we'd need $250,000 to $500,000 to start a brewery, and that's with used equipment, or you have to find venture capitalists, VC investors. And at that point, it was really important for me and my wife to own our own company, not answering to a board.
Right.
So we started seeing all these breweries popping up. We're like, not that the market's getting saturated, like there's too many, but the market was getting saturated, like where do we put this? There's breweries in all these small towns all around us now.
So geography kind of plays a part in all this.
Oh, absolutely.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that plays a part. So then we realized, okay, what can we do now? And then leaning on my experience at Best Buy, I love helping people find their unknown needs, like by asking questions, figuring out what they might like, which we might do some of that tonight with beer. Right, so we wanted to.
Yes, indeed.
We wanted to send beer in the mail, and at that point in time, it just became legal in the state of Pennsylvania, where we are pilgrims and we drink beer like we just got it off of the Mayflower.
But our laws are a little archaic here.
Yeah, very archaic. But they finally caught up to at least the 1930s. So
the Quaker state,
where we can send it in the mail.
Right.
And at that point, I was in communication with their legal counsel of the LCB for a couple months, and they basically said, Dennis, you're the the first person to ask us to try to do the model that you're doing. So to be safe, how about you buy a restaurant or buy a beer distributor and then buy all your permits and then you can do it. I'm like, okay, so we're right back at that 500,000 point.
Absolutely.
So we started realizing for us to penetrate this market, it seems like there's a massive barrier to entry for capital. So I don't know if that was just all the doors we were knocking on. That's kind of the answer we were getting. So we knew if we wanted to follow our dream and be a part of this community, we had to do something that's never been done before. And boy, am I happy we fell into all those roadblocks to come up with the model we have today, where we focus on the story and the branding of the brewery and the merchandise. So not the alcohol itself, but what it represents, how that brewery got started, collaborative merchandise from them, but then doing something else that no one else in the country does. We take that brewery, connect them to small mom and pop shops that most people have never heard of to make things out of beer. Beer hot sauce, barbecue sauce, jelly, lollipops, coffee with malts and hops, candles, soaps, all kinds of unique stuff. You never know what you're going to get. And we send it out every month. And because we went through the journey we did, we can now ship anywhere in the world, and doesn't matter how old you are. So we're able to compete on a large scale, and that's what we're looking to do.
So the name.
Yeah.
How the name come across?
Actually, funny enough, on the road trip back from that one of the first breweries we went to, the Smoky Mountains, North Carolina, Nanatella Brewing, we're on the way back, and we were actually thinking, if we started a brewery, what would we call it? First Sip, because you like something from the first sip. So that kind of
very unique name.
That kind of stuck with us. So once when we pivoted to the brew box model, easy, First Sip Brew Box.
Okay. So I'm a little anxious. So I saw you walked in with a couple beers here today.
We sure did. We are not playing around with these bad boys.
So we sampling anything tonight?
We absolutely are. So we're going to go on a journey. So I know you were looking to have an IPA. So we're going to save that one for last.
That's fine.
And there's a reason why. Because IPAs are typically a very bitter beer.
Yes.
Which sometimes, can affect the way you taste other beers.
It jades your palate right away.
Oh, yeah. So what we're going to start with is a mango wheat.
Okay.
From Free Will Brewing.
Okay.
They're out in the east side of Pennsylvania. I actually met with the owner, John. He's a really good guy. They do a lot of really good stuff at Free Will, so I'm excited to try this. This is a ale made with mangoes and a lot of other tasty stuff, and I'm excited to see you try it. I really am.
I'm eagerly anticipating.
Let's get these bad boys opened up.
Yeah, let's
and
do it.
we
Let's
obviously
do it.
got the really nice First Sip Brew Box pint glasses.
Wow,
So.
look at that. That's impressively done. I like it. Now, while we're doing this, so are you introducing these small breweries to distributors? Is that pretty much what it is?
No,
Or it's straight to the consumer?
It's straight to the consumer.
Yeah.
So folks on our platform have actually planned vacations around some of the breweries that we featured.
So cool.
So we worked with Geary Brewing, which is the oldest brewery in Maine.
Okay.
And some of our subscribers are actual brewers at breweries.
That's crazy.
So they planned a whole vacation. Chris out at, he's the head brewer at Oryx Brewing in Emsworth.
Oh, yeah,
he planned the
yeah.
whole vacation going out to visit that brewery because of the brew box he received in the mail.
That's very
So
interesting.
this stuff works.
Yeah, because you are basically the conduit for the networking. You're introduced the network. Thank you so much, my friend. The networking through beer is connecting these people in the industry.
We are a web that connects businesses with breweries and the end consumer. That's what we do. A lot of folks, so just to be transparent, so some breweries, for example, in North Carolina.
Is it okay if I try this?
Oh, dig into
All right.
it. Yeah, okay.
Salute, my
We'll
friend.
slide into this. So give it a good smell.
Okay. I'm learning here. Fruity.
Nice. Yeah, you could definitely pick up on those mangoes as well. So good head retention, and let's go ahead and try it.
Oh Oh my gosh, is that good?
That's good.
That's
it's crisp.
so
It's
good.
refreshing. You got a little fruitiness, and you can pick up on a slight hot backbone.
But it doesn't bite you. It's non-offensive. Very non-offensive.
That's why this one's the first.
Smart man. He
The
knows
other-
what he's doing.
The other one's going to talk dirty to you.
That's okay. No, this is really good. And repeat the name of this beer.
Yeah, so this is a mango wheat from Free Will Brewing Company.
Free Will Brewing. Yeah. Mango wheat.
Yeah, if you guys ever see anything from Free Will, snag it up.
Really
Grab it.
Good stuff.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Very cool. Very, very, very cool beer glasses, by the way. I love these.
Awesome. I'm glad you like it because that
Yeah.
one's yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Drinking Buddies with a paw print in the back.
Yeah, so we actually started a pet brew box too, because some people enjoy their pets more than other people. So
Yeah.
we worked with small businesses that work with breweries, because in the brewing process, when you're done making the beer, you have a lot of what's called spent grain left over.
Okay.
So all the sugars were pulled out because that sugar acts as food for the beer. That's how it makes
Right.
the alcohol. That's how it carbonates, all that good fun
Right.
stuff. So you're left with this nutrient-rich, like think of an oatmeal. That's kind of what it looks like.
Okay.
So these small businesses take that from breweries that were just going to either hopefully donate it to a farmer or pay to get it, composted and taken away. And they make dog treats out
That's
of them.
so cool.
So we have a whole brew box, a pet brew box that's actually dedicated just for dogs. Because some people were like, "Hey, I love beer, but I don't want to give that. I don't want to get a gift for anyone." So we came up with that, and we actually partnered with a company that made dog beer out of chicken ale. Like it's a chicken ale dog beer. And the best thing about that is whenever you drink with your dog, you never drink alone. So pour your pup a pint.
That is awesome. That is awesome. This is outstanding.
Good.
Like it. I like it a
I'm
lot.
pulling you over to the dark side.
You might be. Yeah, I see light and Miller Lite. This is amazing.
It's very crisp. And then let me double check the alcohol percent of this guy. 5%. So it's very, very approachable.
Yeah. Good. Tasty.
I could tell you enjoyed it. It's gone.
It's gone, yeah. It finishes well.
Yeah.
It does. It finishes well. The if it's and I don't want to get in front of the presentation either because I want to learn as we go here. But
Yeah.
the brew box, is there beer in the brew box?
No beer.
Okay.
And that's the big thing. Since there's no beer, we can send it anywhere, and it doesn't matter
Got
how
it.
old you are.
I got it. But it's an introduction to these breweries.
Correct. It's a different way to experience craft beer.
Yes, it's so on.
Yeah.
And the audience knows I'm a realtor, so all of us realtors are appreciative of our clients.
Right.
The old gift card thing gets a little old.
It does.
And but we get solicited oftentimes for different kinds of packages and the the little crocheted wall hanging with their names on it gets old, and
Right.
the monogram towels gets old.
Right.
Something like this is kind of speaks our language about the
Right.
uniqueness of it.
You are 100% correct, and that's what we thought too with the real estate industry. So we launched a whole B2B business-to-business segment of our company for corporate gifting, and the first businesses we ever landed were real estate agents. I went in, I did a full
You
presentation.
might have picked the right show tonight.
Yeah. Strategic.
Michael,
Very strategic.
Mr. Cowden, are you watching this?
Excuse me, sir. I went in, I did a whole presentation for a 30-person team,
Right.
and they loved it. They told me what they were doing now was buying wine, then a couple of days later finding a cheese that would pair with that wine, then how do we give a good presentation. A week later, they might have got a basket for it.
It's not unique, and I
Right.
love unique things for me because I feel my practice offers unique service. I pride
Right.
myself on that. So
Absolutely.
having a closing gift
Yeah.
that really is unique and cool is something that would appeal to a realtor like myself.
Absolutely. So, I went in after asking them those questions. I was like, so how long do you spend? How much time do you spend? And how long does it take you to appreciate your clients that spend all this time working with you? They were about a week and a half, getting everything, dropping it off, shipping it, whatever they end up doing. I was like, how does 48 hours sound? And you do nothing but email me. They they were astounded. That was great. So we put a program in place. Every house that they sell would have a brew box arrive at that house, welcome them to home, and for using their service. And we can put in, if you guys want to get like koozies made with your logo, like
so
a little thank you card
going on there.
Yeah. So we put all that stuff together, and we could actually do, a Pittsburgh themed one, or any breweries in the state where they bought that home. We can find a brewery, put together a brew box, and the brewery wins too, right? If you're buying a house in their neighborhood, like, it just makes sense.
Oh, there's your local penetration.
Yeah.
Man. Boy, you got this thought up pretty well.
Yeah, I left my job about 1.5 years ago. So the last gig that I had, I worked for a cloud-based technology company that did like back-end automation for convenience stores, like measuring inventory, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So when I left there, it was a punch in the face going from what I was making to zero.
I would imagine.
And relying on the wife's income. Oh, geez. I hope my father-in-law doesn't hear this. He still doesn't know. Well, he's also, an engineer.
Sorry, Dad.
He's an engineer, and if it doesn't fit in the box, and I get it. Like, he's a dad, right? Like, he wants the best for his kid.
Of course.
But I don't need anyone's approval to follow my dream, as long as my wife is happy. I guess the point that I was making is we're not homeless.
Right.
Yet. So, everything's been working.
And every idea and every small business starts with that idea and starts small. It has to.
Absolutely.
It's got to grow organically, and it sounds like that's what's happening to you.
It is. We're taking off. This is going to be the biggest holiday season we've ever seen in the history of our company.
Wow.
So we're super pumped.
So talk about what's in that box. And obviously there's different boxes and different options.
Every single month's different. Yeah, every single month we feature a different brewery, and we get unique gear from that brewery. And, stickers, koozies, coasters, like very collectible stuff from that small mom and pop brewery.
Yeah. Which beer enthusiasts love.
Oh, God, they put stickers everywhere.
They love that stuff, right?
They absolutely do. But then, so for example, the brew box that we have here today, we have our unique one-of-a-kind veterans t-shirt that we had made with the breweries that we featured and partnered with this month to make this veterans beer to get out into VFWs around the Pittsburgh area, which was super cool because I got tired of going in the VFWs and only being able to drink Miller Lite, Coors Light, Bud Light, anything with a light in it. So we made a very approachable beer to get it in there. So a really nice, unique shirt there. We also have beer jelly. We have beer pretzels from a small company in Sarasota, Florida. We have a beer-infused barbecue sauce, some stickers in there, branded pint glass, all kinds of unique stuff. And every month it's extremely different with what's in there.
So talk about the subscription. How does that work?
Yeah. You just jump online. We're super flexible. You hit up firstsipbrewbox.com, and you have 3 different tiers. You have the Brewmaster tier, which is going to be unique merchandise, so t-shirts, pint glasses, stickers, that kind of stuff. Then you have the Enthusiast tier, which is the swag plus the products made out of beer. Then you have the Connoisseur, the Mac Daddy level.
The Connoisseur.
Undoubtedly, sir.
Indubitably.
And that is even larger quantities of things made out of beer, and any hidden swag that the brewery gave such limited quantities of. A lot of times it's hard for us to close the box. It's going to show up misshapen. Don't worry, there's tons of bubble wrap in there. Nothing's going to break, but you definitely get your value for there, especially if you're a craft beer connoisseur.
And craft beer enthusiasts in general.
Right.
I just love the collectible stuff.
They do.
It's just, it's been, I have a lot of clients that are. I've seen their homes and their man caves and all that stuff. That kind of stuff works.
It does
for that niche,
and it works for the brewery. So having those
advertisements,
having those conversations with them, Dennis. Why won't I? How does it help me having a customer in upstate New York, and let's say they're in North Carolina, know about my brewery? Can I just give all this swag out to my local people? Sure. You absolutely can, but those locals already know who you are. This is going to be a mid to long-term strategy because everyone has a phone in their hand. Everyone has social media. They're going to be using your pint glass to pour beer, take photos, post it to Instagram. They're going to be walking into other breweries, and anywhere they go, that all these beer fests that are going on, music festivals, they're going to be wearing your branding. So you might not see the instantaneous, but you shouldn't be worried about the upfront sale. You should be worried about building a brand.
Absolutely, which is the catchphrase for all marketing in the past 8-10 years,
Yep,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
but it's important.
It is.
And because it's a new economy, you're in the new economy, and the promotion comes through the new media,
right?
Which is kind of what we're doing here today.
Absolutely. And I totally get it. If you're a small brewery, because we do a lot of work, right, to build this platform, to get this stuff going.
Right.
So I get it. The brewery who includes that merch to us, it's obviously a marketing hit for them because they paid money for the merch. I totally understand that.
But that's what they bought it for in the first place.
Yeah, that's exactly what they got it for. And so let's just say, for example, a shirt costs typically like $7-8. For them to send a shirt to somebody would have cost just that much in shipping anyways.
Absolutely.
So we'll do the whole
Package it
shebang.
up.
Yep.
No, I totally get it. I think it's ingenious. I really think it's ingenious. And I think of all the niche, if you're going to enter this is because part of what you're doing is the gift market.
Right.
But if you're going to enter that, why not really grab a hold of something that's in the American conscience right now, which is craft beer.
Craft beer, and the subscription box industry is seeing exponential growth.
Yeah, no
because
doubt.
folks love, like, hey, it's Christmas every month. We have a gentleman up in Alaska.
Without getting stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Look at Amazon.
Yeah, that's a perfect example right there.
It feeds on the human emotion too.
Yeah.
I think of getting things in the mail. It's like, okay, that's a childhood thing, right?
Yeah.
Something comes delivered to you.
Yeah, it's for you. We have a guy up in Alaska that has been a subscriber for over 3 years. He just loves getting it every single month. Mike's subscription renews. I'm like, my man. For so many times we've counted on a lot of our subscribers to just pay our internet bill.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
And the funnel more into the business to grow. We're finally seeing us get to that point where we can make these bigger decisions. We have an office space now, putting the moves in place that we need to scale.
Are you still doing all the packing yourself?
Oh yeah.
Are you still? So you?
We're gonna do that till it's no longer feasible to do it.
You're all in-house and contained.
We're all in-house,
self-contained, right?
Yep, absolutely. We do everything on our own. To help keep costs down,
Sure.
right? But we've already did our business model canvas, so we know at what point we'd actually start losing money doing it ourselves. So we got it planned out. We got to hit 500 subscribers, and then Sammy and Dennis gets to have other folks pack the boxes, so we can work on running the business instead of being in it.
Scale it. It's another big word today, right? Scale it upwards.
Scale up.
Are the subscriptions renewable? Are they renewable month to month? Are they renewable for 6 months, a year? How do you work that?
All of the above. It was important to us. So
Okay.
during our market research, we found that a lot of folks were, one of the cons to the subscription box industry, they were nervous about, when they can cancel, when they quit, because things come up, right?
Sure.
You got to skip a month, all that stuff. So basically, we do it to where you can cancel whenever you want, you can pause whenever you want. The further out you subscribe, the bigger discount that you
absolutely.
get. And as we continue to grow, you're guaranteed to get that next month's box, because we've actually gotten to the point a few times where we almost had to hit that sold out button. I had to.
It's exciting.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. But then again, I don't want anyone to not get it, so I figured things out.
as any entrepreneur has to do, right?
Absolutely.
So talk about some of the breweries that you're working with now.
Oh man. So many, right?
It's got to be exciting when you go in and because there's an element of sales. You're selling them
Right.
on your concept.
Right.
But
honestly, before I started my own company, I was in sales for 15 years.
So you get it.
Oh God. And man, this cold calling sucked. I had to do that for one job, and I got so much anxiety from doing it.
Sure.
But when you're doing something for yourself, and I know that I'm helping that brewery.
And you believe in your product.
I believe it. I know that it's helping them because I've helped others.
Absolutely.
And then it's not a transactional relationship. It becomes I care about their success. I am now bought into their success. So indefinitely, anything that they need help with, from a business standpoint, like Dennis, how would you recommend I do this? How would you recommend I scale this? Because we've done a good job of establishing ourselves as thought leaders.
Right.
If they need events shared, they hit us up. We share it, no cost, no problem. We really work with that brewery just to show that level of commitment that we have. My wife and I actually had our wedding reception and one of the first breweries that ever partnered with us, right on the north side of Pittsburgh, Allegheny City Brewing.
How cool
Matt,
is
Alan,
that?
Amy, we just fell in love with them, and they believed in us when no one else even knew our names.
Right.
So, and that those are the relationships we create. When I go to beer fests and see all the breweries we've worked with, it's like seeing family.
Right. Hey, do you look on the landscape? Do you see anything similar to what you're doing out there in the marketplace?
Bits and pieces, right?
Okay.
And I monitor anyone I consider,
Naturally.
competition. I see what platforms they're on, what they're posting. Every single the hustle is real,
No doubt.
and I find those gaps in the market, and I double down on those gaps and make sure that we own that platform. For example, they're all out of all of our competition, no one's on Pinterest. And
Interesting.
now we have a very photogenic product, and we know that women make 65% of the decision making when it comes to gift giving in the household. So we focus on there, and so some of our competition out there, they're not doing that, which is fine. Create all the gaps.
Sure.
But they are out there, but no one does exactly what we do. They may just do T-shirts from one state or two states.
Got it.
Where they make T-shirts from different breweries, which is cool. There's another company that just sends beer out, which that's not every state. Sometimes it's not even illegal for them to send it. It's illegal for you to receive it. So they'll
Right.
take your money all day and send it to you.
And the risk obviously is on the recipient.
Yeah. Absolutely. And what happens if
That's pretty
that
disingenuous.
It is. So what happens when that package breaks and the USPS shoots you an email, hey, come pick this up. All of a sudden you get there and you're getting fined because someone sent you were a recipient for beer. Like, it's insane. I mean,
Right.
it's not like that in every state, but it is there. And also another fact, if you're ordering beer in the mail, it's not what the brewer made. There's such temperature differences that affect the beer
bet.
shaking around. Like, that's
absolutely.
not what craft beer was made
Right,
for,
correct,
you know?
Correct. Approximately how many breweries you're working with now?
So we've worked with, probably about 60 different breweries.
That's amazing.
60 different small mom and pop shops from all over the country. Because some of the things that we do, we pull multiple breweries in on it. We've worked with some of the bigger breweries in the country, Stone Brewing, New Belt, which we're going to have a Stone Brewing beer tonight.
Yeah, speaking of that, by the way, my glass just happens to be empty whenever you feel like
Oh,
doing
yeah,
it.
no, that is a party foul. I'll take that glass back. we'll get that watered
I mean,
out.
not to interrupt you or anything,
No, trust me, I can definitely talk about beer
Right on.
as I'm pouring it.
Yeah, right on. But,
So-
so how did you reach, I guess my point is, that all of these breweries, did you go personally visit, or were you able to secure some of their business by phone?
Oh, man. That is a good question, right? So
'Cause I know I know you from this show. I could imagine. Thank you, sir.
you are welcome.
I can imagine that you would prefer to go out there in person.
Right, but on a small business budget, you can't
Right.
go everywhere, right? So, funny story. Once we were first getting started, I was still working full time, and there's a little splash left in there if you want to top yourself off.
Sure, I do.
As I was still working full time, so I would get home from work until about 3 a.m. I went to Barnes and Nobles. I bought the 1001 Beers You Must Try Before You Die.
Good book.
Very good book. Tons of really good brews in there.
Okay.
And I went line by line and emailed every single brewery. This was worldwide. It was all over the world. That was before I found out how difficult and how expensive it would be to ship a pallet of really unique beer swag from Scotland, for example.
International's tough.
Yeah,
at the size that you are now.
Right.
You
so
never know in the
shipping there,
future.
is easy, but getting bulk stuff from other breweries somewhere in the country is difficult. So I went line by line, emailed every single one, and the folks that responded carried on the conversation. If a phone call was needed, it was needed.
Sure.
And then, we ended up working with tons of local breweries, but that's basically how we do it. And as we establish ourselves in the industry, breweries are now contacting us. Hey, Dennis, can I send you stuff? Can you do giveaways? Can you get us featured? And it feels good to say, well, we're backed up now for the next 4.5, 5 months.
Amazing.
But I want, when are you launching? Then they'll tell me when they're opening their doors. I was like, look, we'll do a special campaign giveaway for you. Send us whatever you want, and we'll give you guys some shout outs and send your stuff out, which is really awesome.
So
right?
you leave it up to the brewery to decide what they want to send you, and you'll package it all together and create that unique experience.
Absolutely. As long as what they're sending, we have value standards. It's for, they can't just send stickers, right? How mad would you be if you spent like $30 and you got stickers?
I got a sticker.
So it has to be something along the lines of, at least stickers, a pint glass, and then for, most of our boxes, either t-shirts or hats, but I leave it up to them, right? Because it's their story. What brands them the best? When we worked with Weibacher out of East PA, they sent us like tons of like corks with their stamp on it, where they bottle, they do some really cool bottle collaborations, like very super unique stuff, that they sent us a bunch of.
Beer connoisseurs and craft beer enthusiasts love that stuff.
They sure do.
So what are we drinking now, my friend?
So we have a Fear Movie Lions double IPA from Stone Brewing out of San Diego, California. This is a double IPA, so I know I'm really stepping you into this.
All right.
It's clocking in.
What does that mean, double IPA?
That goes off of the ABV. So it's tons of hops. It's 8.5%. This is roughly 2.5 of like your regular beers. More of your macro beers that you might drink. So that's another great thing about craft beer. You're not going to feel as bloated because you can have 3 beers and it will equal, like 8 other beers.
I know. I found that out
you
the
can
hard
smell
way.
the hops on this. It's super fresh.
Hoppy. This is
super
hoppy.
Fresh.
It smells good though. It does smell good.
Oh man, yeah, that has a solid hop backbone.
No, that has a little bite to it.
Oh yeah, you definitely feel it.
And the name of that again?
It's Fear Movie Lions double IPA.
That's a strange name. Fear Movie Lions.
That's what Stone Brewing does. They're really creative, and since they've been around for so long, you got to keep coming up with beer names.
You must see a lot of that, though. I mean, just crazy names on there.
For sure. I've spoken to some local breweries that have said it's so tough to keep up sometimes. They may or may not use random name generators to come up with some ridiculous off-the-wall names, because you're so busy running a business, and some brewery owners, they still work full-time.
Sure.
So don't assume that's all that they're doing is brewing beer. They're working full-time for like Verizon, going in, brewing beer after work for another 6, 7, 8, 9 hours, going home, sleeping, coming back to going to work, coming back, pouring beer.
That's a passion.
It is a passion for sure.
Which is the spice of life to me. I mean, you got to have it and find it, and these folks have done it.
Yeah.
As you have done it yourself, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
This is tasty. I mean, even for me, this is it's hoppy, right?
It's very hoppy.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to say very, right? So there's some beers that is like taking a cinder block to your mouth, like. So a term called IBUs, it's an international bitterness unit. So that measures how bitter something is. So this is probably going to be around 60, but some of those double, triple IPAs are over 100.
Oh my gosh.
And that is what I call over the top hop. It'll wreck your palate. There's no possible meal that would taste good with it. You're literally doing that because you just enjoy really bitter beers. That is it.
So you can't eat dinner tonight. You just go and drink your beer.
That's it. Which is okay too.
Once in a while, sure.
Hey, just call your dog over. You're not drinking alone. That's why we now have a beagle. Little Porter. She's my best friend.
Porter. That's a good name.
It's after our favorite beer style.
Of course. So speaking of that, what does porter mean?
So that's that's its own conversation. So that is a style of beer.
Okay.
So porters are similar to stouts. However, there's a great debate over the exact difference. It depends on who you ask. Are you asking a beer judge? Are you asking an old guy that's been running a pub for 45 years? But essentially porters were like an English style, a British style that started coming over in the U.S., I would say in the 1919s, maybe late 20s.
I drink a lot of Guinness. There's a case of it over there.
So when we're done here, we might slip into there.
We might.
It's just an old style.
That's just that's as culture as I had ever gotten until the craft beer thing comes. But Guinness to me was a different beer completely. It would go down, unfortunately, a little too easy.
Oh, God, but it's so good.
Yeah. So what is that, though? Is that a porter?
That's a stout.
That's a stout.
So Guinness is going to be...
Harp is their sister company. I've had Harp.
Right.
A little more bitter.
A little bit more. Yeah, a little bitter, a little more roasty, you know.
Interesting.
But so the first time I had a Guinness, I was in Ireland. It was the first vacation my wife and I took, and man, did we fall in love with Ireland. I swear, it might just be the culture, the nostalgic like feeling that you get over there. But I swear it tastes different.
Landscape, right?
I swear Guinness tastes different there.
Yeah, it probably does. Did you visit the factory?
We did.
Did you get your certificate for learning how to pour?
We sure did. We got that. We got a fresh draft right off the teats of the Guinness mother, which was... And then it's so funny. So we walked out of there, and there was just a carriage just waiting there. I was like, oh, how quaint. Then we got on the carriage. We already knew the next pub that we wanted to visit, which is the Brazen Head. Argumentatively, the oldest pub in Ireland, dating back to the 1400s.
Wow,
and
how about the history of that?
Guess what? They're a Steeler bar. It just blew my mind.
We
walked in. I was like, that's a terrible towel in the corner.
Awesome,
and then this old Irish bartender, he's like, yeah, he just pulls up this like Kiesel jersey. He's like, ha ha ha.
Kiesel jersey.
Yep, he had it, man.
How cool is that?
It was super cool. We loved it.
Oh my gosh. What's the odds of that, right?
I know.
Wow.
I know. We had to take a chariot to a Steeler bar. It was the classiest thing we've ever done.
They're all over the world, I think. There's just Steeler bars everywhere.
Do you know some of the history of why that is? Or not Steelers bar specifically, but why there's tons of Steelers fans and they travel, all over the earth more so than a lot of other teams?
Well, Paul Alexander, my good friend, Pittsburgh sports personality, he had a theory.
Ooh,
and that was that when the mills kind of closed in the late 80s, late 70s, early 80s, a lot of folks went to Florida. They moved to different Arizona. They moved out of Pittsburgh trying to find jobs. So there was a lot of, that's why our population over time kind of sank.
Nope, that's exactly right.
They put up roots, and so they made that their home, but Pittsburgh will always be their home.
Right, absolutely.
Is that right?
No, that's 100% right. They had to go to where other, blue-collar towns are so they can find work and everything. But you hit the nail on the head. You, sir, talk to a lot of people, which is great.
I do. And this show, I've always done that, but this show has enabled me to enhance that. We talked about it off camera when it came in. We chat a little bit why this show is and what we do. It really comes out of my thirst for knowledge and my thirst for understanding. And I jumped at the chance. We have mutual friends at the Working Stiffs Podcast Brothers. They referred me to you, and as soon as I made a comment to them that I need to get a beer guy or gal on here.
That's my last name, Dennis the Beer Guy.
Well, they said we got the guy because they had ironically had you on a couple of months earlier, and they told me your whole story, and I'm like, oh please, please connect me with this guy.
It was crazy how it happened. As soon as they messaged me, I was like, I looked up your stuff. I was like, oh, hell yeah. And then I immediately messaged you.
You did.
Sent you an email.
You did. And I'm like, well, this is going to be great because, because starting the show as we've gone along, we've reached out, and everybody, knock on wood, everybody we've reached out to has responded.
Right.
Some said their schedules are tight right now. And we're all over the board. I'm working with a few ex-Steelers right now to come on, have them
man.
tell their story. A couple ex-Pirates. So we're going to do some of the sports stuff. But business executives, Carnegie Mellon folks. I'm trying to get a theoretical physicist in here right now to talk about parallel universes and
the moon landing.
Take us off. No conspiracy stuff, but take us off the deep end in terms of like theoretical things. Just
That's cool.
things that are just interesting conversations. But I had the thirst for knowledge of this because I've kind of ignored it, the craft thing, because I haven't been a beer enthusiast. I like beer,
Right?
But I haven't.
I can tell. It's empty again. I look away for 1 second.
But I haven't been exposed to good beer,
Right.
outside of Guinness.
Right.
That's it.
Hey, I can still respect that. If you're downing some Guinness, still love for Guinness.
Yeah, no question. This was really tasty. This is hoppy, but I could dig this.
Yeah.
I definitely could dig. So what else is over there, friend?
We have the
One
last
more,
guy.
right?
So it is a Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. Which is it's similar. I would say it's an American IPA for
It's
sure.
going to bite back.
It's going to have a bite, but it's also going to be malty as well. So you're going to get little malts in there, which is really good. This has been rated year after year Home Brewers of America's #1 craft beer choice.
Really?
So that's why I wanted to end, on
Giving
that
my
note.
glass back.
I'll get that bad boy
While you're
going.
pouring that, repeat the website and how they can reach you.
Absolutely. So you can find us at firstsipbrewbox.com. Again, firstsipbrewbox.com.
It's a great name. I love that name.
And all of our social media handles at First Sip Brew Box. So you can find us on the Instagram, the
Thank you, my
Twitters, the Facebooks, not Snapchat. I actually don't know how to use it. So if you know how to use Snapchat and you want to do some cool stuff for us, I'd appreciate that. But we're on YouTube, LinkedIn, all that good fun stuff.
Yeah, and it's have you had success with satisfied customers of yours sharing and proliferating and all that stuff? Because the networking on social media is strong it needs to be strong for a young business.
Absolutely. You are not kidding about that. So we do a great job at, posting tons of content.
Mm-hmm.
We outpace all of our competition, activity, engagement, all that good fun stuff. But we're actually putting something in place. Got to do a burpee.
Yeah, that's the beer, man. Always happens too.
It's creeping up on you. So we're actually putting a reward system in place. So every time they share an email they get, social media, Facebook, all of that stuff, they get points. And they can redeem those points on the First Sip Brew Box shop.
Wow.
So we're getting that built out right now. We're looking to launch that, before December.
Okay, well,
So it's in progress right now.
so I'm going to throw this out there. I was I had an exchange today with our good friend Zach and is it Zach and Dave? Zach and Danny. Zach and
Danny.
I'm sorry, Danny. I'm not
Danny
calling beers
P.
down. Zach and Danny from from Working This Podcast invited me today to appear on December 19th.
Yeah.
And one of our mutual friends, Corey, is going to show up too. But I would like to invite you, sir, if you're in town and you can make it work, to come.
December 19th. I should be.
Yeah, if you can do it, come on. And we'll also have refreshments.
Oh,
but if you
man.
want to bring additional beers that are on your radar, we can do that too, and just have a good time. We're gonna have a great fun time.
Yeah,
But the invitation's there. I know I'm speaking out of school, but I'm bringing the guy. He's
Hey,
coming.
man.
He's coming. You know.
They call me D guy for a reason.
That's right, and they love you. So if it's in your plans, we'll see if we can make that happen.
Absolutely, and I can try to reach out to some breweries too if they want to, toss some beers on. We'll talk
we'll
about
promote them.
them.
Absolutely right. But that's going to be on December 19th, and I'm honored that they want me on their podcast.
That is super cool.
But I'd love to have you with.
Yeah, man, I'm there.
Yeah,
Cheers.
this is good. So what are we drinking here now? This is very hoppy.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what I'm experiencing here. This is going to bite back a little bit, right?
It is. So this is going to be an American IPA, Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. They're
Bell's
again one of
Two-Hearted.
those older breweries. I believe since the 90s they've been around pushing a lot of good stuff for craft beer.
Okay. All right, here we
They're
go.
one of the granddaddies.
Boy, right out of the gate, that's a little bit of a taste bud attack there.
Oh yeah.
But I don't find it offensive, though. I think it actually is pretty darn good. I like a little bite. I do. I mean, that kind of sounds funny from a guy who drinks Miller Lite and Icy Light.
Go ahead. Top yourself
but,
off.
yeah, I like a little bite. That's good. That's really good. And this is Bell's.
Yep.
Two-Hearted Ale. That's one ugly fucking fish. But yeah,
There's a pretty ugly fish.
you know what's amazing about this stuff is the cans and it's some of these breweries. I almost think it's comical. They probably infuse humor in some of the names and stuff.
God,
you know?
you're not kidding
Right?
about that. They
Am
do.
I right? It's
They
funny
do.
almost, right? Which I think adds to the whole kitschiness of the whole thing. But it's part of the landscape of being a craft beer enthusiast. Would you not agree?
No, absolutely. So a lot of it plays on pop culture. So one of the breweries that are the best at that comes to mind is Evil Genius, again, the eastern side of the state. Luke, who started Evil Genius, again, they were one of the first 5 breweries that we worked with.
Wow.
They do a very good job at pop culture references. If any of you guys are familiar with Family Guy, he actually made
yeah.
a beer, Shut Up Meg.
Are you kidding
Oh
me?
God, dude, it is so good. Oh man,
That is awesome.
Santa, I know him from Elf.
Yeah,
Man, he
yeah.
just does so much cool stuff. So
Right.
if you're looking to get a good kick out of some beer humor, look up Evil Genius, jump on their website. They distribute here in Pittsburgh, so you can find tons of their beer at
Okay.
any local beer distributors or bottle shops.
And it's an invention.
Right.
It is an absolute invention, and I think it's really impressive. I love the concept of giving a really unique gift,
Right.
because there's not enough of those out there.
Absolutely. A lot of people, what do you get that person that has everything or they have the means to get whatever they want? Something that they've never heard of, and that's what you'll get in First Sip Brew Box. It's a collection of small businesses. Everything's made in the U.S., so it's a collection of those mom and pop shops all put together in one platform.
That's amazing. Now, how did you was the concept from the beginning to contact the breweries and get the swag, get the unique items, but then how did you determine you were going to reach out and to jams and all that stuff? How'd that come about?
It just happened, right?
Really?
So the greatest thing is with the internet being a thing, it opens up so many pathways where we can research companies, do Google searches, social media has been huge. Just looking on Instagram. So my wife, Sammy, she manages most of our social media accounts.
Right.
She just reaches out, shoots some messages.
Very
That's been
cool.
the biggest thing. But like I said, now folks are finally, they're reaching out to us before we even knew that they existed, saying, hey, this is what I do. Can I send it to you and you include it in your brew box?
How cool is that?
Yeah, no, it's a total change because initially we were paying for everything in there, right? We were getting wholesale prices, which is the same as retail.
Yeah.
And there wasn't enough margin left on there because we want to deliver a really good value with really unique products, but we couldn't do it at that price point. So we had to build up the platform to where we can show what we can do. So now we change the conversation from us having to buy things to these companies sending them to us.
Yeah, as they should. I mean, it's part of their promotion. You are delivering a unique experience on their behalf.
Yeah, and it was a total mind shift change. So I'm part of a startup incubator down East Liberty. It's called Ascender. They help a bunch of small startup companies like they're disrupting an industry get started. And so when I got in there,
an organization?
It's an organization that's been around. They were called a couple different things, but they've been around for a while now, and it's a wonderful thing. So I'm really happy that I was able to get into that program. So basically, the CEO called me into his office, Barry, our former CEO, and he said, Dennis, would Forbes magazine ever call Mercedes-Benz and pay them to write an article about them? I was like, by Scott? No, they wouldn't. And he was like, right. You should not be paying for anything in this box. People should be paying you.
That's wise advice, my friend.
To have in there. From that point on, it was a mind shift change. We redefined our whole company and built the infrastructure in place to start doing that. Now people are paying us to have stuff in there.
It's amazing.
Because print media, I love all my print media guys, but it's not what it was 10 years ago.
And it'll continue to ebb away, I think.
Ebb away, but they got to remain relevant by changing, right? That's why you see a lot of going digital, right? So
to survive, right?
So they're not getting that stuff sent out. So we created a 3D representation for the same price point that you would have paid for a magazine to include your stuff in there. But instead of having someone go to your website for 6 to 30 seconds, as you would with any Google ad, Facebook ad, all that stuff, you'll get your products into someone's house. Not just in
their hands.
In their hands, on their back, in their cupboard. Not just that. Not,
And they're in their collection, some people, right?
Yeah, but these are targeted people to your demographic.
Yeah,
so you don't have to pay the money to find the right person, send it to them.
You have the database. It's yours.
We have it all.
Your
we
clients.
got it.
This is amazing.
Work with us. We'll help you.
Yeah, so I always like to ask my clients who are entrepreneurs, because I am an entrepreneur, and that's a special breed of person. I think there's a camaraderie that goes there.
Right.
Give me an aha moment. See, that beer is like kicking in on me.
Good, as well as it should.
An aha moment, meaning at what point it was a comment from your wife or something you observed or something together where you looked at each other and you went, it's happening. It's like, and maybe you had a couple of them. Can you share those with us?
Yeah, so I would say the first one that pops into my head is when we wanted to partner with Kennywood.
Kennywood,
huge company, right?
An icon in this town.
It is. You remember having Kennywood days growing up?
A little aside, my broker, Michael Cowden of Cowden Creek Realty, I don't know if you noticed on the news about a month ago, he bought the log jammer.
Because they did that auction.
Michael Cowden,
he got one
my
of the
broker, bought the log jammer, and we use it as a marketing tool when we go to do like festivals for townships, meeting people, putting up a tent, for festival days or autumn days for towns. We put this on there, and people come and get pictures taken in a log jammer because everybody remembers the log jammer, right?
Absolutely.
So Michael owns the log jammer. little aside, but you figure
no, that's awesome. They told me they auctioned them off, and they told me some of the price points those were going for.
It wasn't cheap, but Michael got it. Yeah.
Hey, man, but that's a piece of Pittsburgh history. You can't.
And people love it. It encourages people to come to our booth and talk with us. It's all about engagement, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So leading into that aha moment, so we've been part of Kennywood's Brews in the Park, which is their beer fest they have every year in the park. So cool.
It is cool.
We get to drive our car in Kennywood. So they allow you to do a few rides, as a customer to come in.
Sure.
But then obviously they shut them down when the beer starts flowing because beer.
Of course. Yes.
So we were doing that for a few years, and then when we came up with a storyable idea, we wanted
storyable. I love the word. And this guy right here, First Sip Brew Box, they coined that term.
You heard it here first.
Storyable. I might start using that, friend.
Dude, do it. Just say hashtag First Sip Brew Box.
That's right. That's right.
So we were doing that for a few years, and then I thought to myself, I was like, I want to take this festival to the next level. It's very distributor driven.
Okay.
Like beer distributor, like Vicini, a lot of those guys and that's how the alcohol industry in Pennsylvania works.
Right.
For our what we call beer distributors, it's actually not the correct term. They're just beer realtors. Where you go and pick up beer, those are beer realtors.
Okay.
What a beer distributor is the folks that they have to get beer from.
Correct. Like Frank Fuhrer and those companies?
Fuhrer, Vicini, all those guys. And we do some stuff with all of them. Like a lot of the brews that we work with, they're carried by, different distributors.
Sure.
I was like, you're distributor driven, which is great. You're able to get a hold of stuff that, you typically wouldn't be able to get around here, which is awesome. But I want to see more local community involvement. You're a Pittsburgh icon. There needs to be more of that, local brewery involvement. So I was like, all right, Dennis, put on your big boy pants. They don't fit as well as they used to. Thanks a lot, my wife.
She must be a good cook.
Oh, God, she's such a good baker. She
That's
bakes
awesome.
treats out of spent
God
grain.
Bless you, my friend.
So good life. What can I say?
Absolutely.
So I thought, all right, let's reach out to Kennywood. Let's see if we can facilitate a beer collaboration with them. And we did. I reached out to them thinking they might say, little First Sip Brew Box, maybe next year, or, send us a request for a proposal. Like, what are you thinking? We'll look at it.
Yeah.
But what they said was, we've been wanting to do that for years. Can you help us? I was like,
Good
What are
idea,
the
good
odds
timing.
are
Good
this?
timing, right?
So we made it work. We connected with 4 and 2 Brewery. Their tap room is on Western Ave on the North Shore, North Side, but their brewery's in McKees Rocks. Because
Right.
whenever we put together these collaborations, we want to do it with small breweries that need help growing.
Yeah.
Like Penn Brewery, they don't need our help.
I get it.
They're doing fine on
I
their
get it.
own.
I get it.
So that's when it really clicked for us. Like even a big company like Kennywood that's been around for over 100 years still saw the value in what we did and wanted our help. So once we realized that, we're like, this is a thing. We can do this.
No, I get it. And no, you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's on the horizon here? I mean, I don't want you to reveal anything proprietary
Right.
at all. But is there anything you can talk about that's coming that you're pretty excited about?
Oh, man.
That you can reveal?
There's so much behind the veil.
God bless you, my friend.
We're putting together, so just like that Kennywood one, just like the Veterans one, keep an eye out for the next few months because we're doing some other unprecedented things that's never been done before with local Pittsburgh businesses. But that's on the horizon that we can talk about. Well, we do now ship to 5 different countries. Obviously, the U.S.,
You're
Canada.
international now.
Yeah. So
That's
we have
big.
subscribers in obviously here in the U.S., Canada, Ireland, Brazil, and now New Zealand, which we're super excited about
That's
that. So,
big.
like I was saying, this craft beer boom is just popping up all over the world.
How did you reach outside? Would you think it came from Instagram, Facebook? Did you run ads? How'd that work?
So we no longer run any ads because what we figured
Good
out
for
was
you.
Facebook, Google AdWords, they have no problem taking your money, but what they don't help you do is optimize everything. So we had to become ninjas.
Tell me about it.
They'll take it all.
Google especially.
Jeez, they don't even help when they mess things
Here's
up.
your Google ad budget, like $500. Great. Set it up. 20 minutes later, it's gone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's gone. You have no click, or you
20
have
minutes.
all the clicks.
No business, right?
So we focus more growing organically now. We will not pay for an ad, and we
Smart.
actually show. So we put together a First Sip Heart and Hustle and Everything Hoppy business networking group.
Back up again. What's it called?
First Sip, Heart and Hustle, and Everything Hoppy, because it's all about that heart and hustle as entrepreneurs. We all know that. So we help people learn from our journey. There's no reason to make the same mistakes that we did.
Right.
As the old adage goes, a wise man learns from someone else's mistakes, not their own. So we share our journey, like the good, the bad, when it's like running a business with your significant other,
Is it a blog? Is it a Facebook group? Or what
it's
is
all
it?
group. We set it up to where everyone can, comment on anything that we want, but it's through our voice. It's our narrative.
Smart.
And we help people not spend money on ads. Put the work in to grow your brand because everyone out there, they'll take your money. And then when I realized, like working with different marketing companies, after I started doing everything on my own and actually using marketing agency software, is I slowly started knowing more than them because it's easy to spend someone else's money. It's not so easy when you have to build it all yourself.
There's no question.
They'll take it. Like I asked one marketing company, I was like, "So, what would you do in this situation?" "Oh, well, we'll charge you for that ad, and then we'll compare it, we'll A/B test it." I was like, "What about SEO and finding other media agencies to write about you and backlinking to your website to increase your Google and Alexa rankings?" And they were like, I guess we could do that too. I'm like, no one wants to do the hard stuff. Like that's sweat equity
Dennis,
that you have to put in.
West. It's the Wild West right now. Everybody's fighting for opportunities.
Right.
And there's so much as a entrepreneur that you can do yourself.
So much.
A little bit of like thought equity, right? Little time spent thought equity, but you can do it.
You can.
Yeah.
I mean, you only have 2 options when it comes to marketing, social media marketing, building SEO, building your brand. You have 2 options. It's either you have the funds and resources to pay someone to do it, or you have to learn and do it yourself. Organically, because the third option is you don't do it and you will fail.
And what's amazing too that I think is such a missed opportunity, and this is I know we're going down the social media rabbit hole, but just enlighten me.
Yeah.
Enlighten me, but also indulge me for a second.
Yeah.
Satisfy customers if you encourage them a little bit to do you a favor.
Right.
Because everybody likes to help people.
Right.
And you tell them, look, you can really help our business grow and proliferate if you dig what we're doing. Can you share it? Can you do this? People love that.
Right.
I think the human experience is we like to help people that we like. And if you do business with a company you feel great about, it's a unique product. It made you feel good. It's fun. Right. People are just good people. They're going to share that. That's money that you couldn't buy that kind of loyalty.
You can't.
Or networking. You couldn't buy it. Right?
I agree.
Because they're satisfied people. So I think with asking for help in that regard, especially with that, I mean, you're probably finding that that's the best way.
So a lot of people they
brand,
do,
right?
It's crazy. A lot of people are, Scott, Mark. It was crazy. So we do random different events with our brewery partners. One of them, Couch Brewery, who we actually did this veteran collaboration with. Once a month, we do First Sip Brew Box bingo, and it was so cool seeing a lot of our Pittsburgh subscribers see that we're there, come out, support us, and just drink beer with us, play bingo. Like I literally counted at the bar right at that brewery, there was about 10 people who subscribe and support us just that we're able to make it out that night. And I talked to the owner, Darren. I was like, hey man, let's get everyone around on me. These are the people that came out and supported us, and they subscribe every single month. And so what I realized is the best way to grow your business is just be a good person, right? Just people want to be a part of that.
Amen.
Just be authentic. Yeah. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, kindness is probably at the very top of all good business. Kindness, consideration, honesty, authentic, being real,
right?
Being genuine. And really caring about your customers' thoughts about what they're getting from you.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you've learned along the way.
For sure. Like there's been times where we pushed our boxes off. I was fine if they were 2 weeks late if I didn't feel like the value was there because we didn't have stuff done yet.
Sure.
And I communicated that, communicate it with people. But just like breweries, if that beer didn't turn out the way they wanted it to, even though it cost them hundreds and hundreds of dollars to produce, I respect the brewery for pushing back a beer release than putting out beer that's not up to their values, up to their standards.
Well, and that's because it all comes down to customer expectation. You don't want to have someone upset, especially with the niche product. It's like if you drank Budweiser your whole life and one time you got a bad case, you're probably not going to care. That's a bad case. It's always kind of been consistent. But on a new product,
right,
you want that wow factor there. Right?
Absolutely. You want that fresh bag of beer pretzels, that beer jelly that they've never had before from a small mom and pop shop in Vermont.
Cool.
We send out like little recipe cards where they're able to do marinades with it, put it on toast, like all kinds of stuff. So it really is that full experience.
And you are basically introducing them to a new brewery, something they might want to try.
Right.
And if they end up liking that, you're a hero.
Yeah, absolutely. To everyone, to the customer, to the brewery, because we created the platform to send that stuff out.
Yeah. Everybody wins.
Yeah, and then they're going to drink a good beer anyways.
Dude, it's amazing. This has been awesome.
Yeah,
the beer
really
has
enjoyed
been phenomenal.
So tasty. I still have a little splash left, man.
That's all right.
You kill it, man.
Dude,
I kill it.
Well, it's just so damn good. So before we leave today, I want you to wrap up and obviously, again, repeat how the consumer can reach you, because that's important too. But share with me a little bit about Pittsburgh. What do you love about the town?
Oh, man. I think the biggest thing that I love about Pittsburgh is, and this is going to sound cliche, but really is the people. Like we, as Pittsburghers, we are tough. We're tough people. We get knocked back down. We get back up again.
Survivors.
We'll talk trash all day on anyone and
Cleveland.
everyone. Yeah, Cleveland, Philly. But at the end of the day, I've saw it time and time again. Yeah. If someone truly needs help, I've seen multiple communities come together and do what we have to do to take care of our own.
The big heart here.
Yep.
Yeah,
big tough heart.
Big tough heart too.
Big tough heart.
And do you feel momentum coming from the Pittsburgh family toward this product?
Oh, for sure. Like we've had so much help and support from the URA,
nice.
From the mayor's office, from Mayor Peduto. I took his Civic Leadership Academy course. Learned a lot of the players behind there.
Yeah.
They've supported us. They really support small businesses, which I definitely like. I want to see less stuff impacting like how long it takes a brewery to open up. But outside, I get it. There's paperwork everywhere. But you know,
that's a state level issue, though, right?
And well, it depends on where the brewery is. If it's in the zip code of the city of Pittsburgh, they just need more people.
Right.
That's all.
Right. And I think government's kind of trying to figure all this out, too. It's more of a newer thing, right?
Right. They are putting moves in place, especially with the URA at funding startups. We got some funding from them, Kiva, but I wish what more people knew were the free resources that are out there to start your own business, to follow your dream.
Yeah.
Like the Riverside Center for Innovation, they paid a company to help us with our business plan. They helped us with our minority certification. We're working on that, certified veteran-owned business.
Yeah.
All kinds of
As
stuff.
you should.
Even the Carnegie Library, going downtown to that Carnegie Library, if you have that card, you have access to scheduling researchers with PhDs to help you research your business idea, and you have access to databases that would cost your business thousands of dollars to have access to. There's so many resources that no one's talking about. Yeah,
that's amazing. Wow,
it's good stuff. So that's what I love about Pittsburgh. It's really helping people start businesses, follow their dreams. And like we said earlier, just some tough-hearted people.
Yeah, we're survivors here, I think.
Oh, without a doubt.
And we've, and the town certainly changed. I'm quite a many years older than you, sir. So
you don't look it, so you're doing good.
Thank you. Maybe it's the beer talking. But in my 50-plus years of life here, I've watched the town evolve from a murky steel town to a beautiful place to live. And as a realtor, I'm proud of the town. As a show host here, hopefully with a unique offering for the city of Pittsburgh.
Oh, without a doubt.
That I'm excited about where we're going. So, and I'm excited for you. That's an amazing product.
Thank you.
And I will tell you that we will be in touch on that. Because that's for realtors. Any realtors watching, my fellow realtors, you got to take a look at that.
We'll make your life so much easier.
That's right.
So much
First
easier.
Sip Brew Box.
First Sip Brew Box, baby.
Facebook, Instagram,
Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn. We're on all the platforms, but Snapchat. We need help.
That's all right. But I will tell you this. He's going to take this show and he's going to create some advertising for himself with it as well, too.
Without a doubt.
Which I think is interesting and smart.
Yeah.
God bless you, my friend.
Document versus create.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Oh,
and you come back and see me?
Absolutely loved it. Oh, without a doubt.
6
Well,
months from
December
now?
19th, remember? We're going to be hanging out.
December 19th. Danny and Zach, he's coming. I want him coming.
Hey.
But I want you to come back and see me. Like 6 months into this, I want to hear an update. I want to talk about the new products. It seems like you're adding new vendors, new breweries
every single month. Every single month, it's completely different. There's so many small businesses out there using the craft beer industry as a catalyst to start their own business.
Sure. Well, again, congratulations.
Thank you.
I wish you the very best. You're on to something amazing, and just come back and check in with us and bring some more beer.
Oh no, I should have brought like 4 more.
I'm good. God bless all of you. First Sip Brew Box.com. Find them, look them up, and remember, Eric McKenna, the Eric McKenna Project, sent you there. Talk to you soon. And God bless y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers. What do you think?
Oh, dude, that was fun.